Bombshell! Arsenal's transfer target has already arrived in England. Meanwhile, Edu Gaspar might sabotage the Gunners' £30 million move for an incredible striker. And to wrap it up, Arsenal should sign £85 million Premier League star before the transfer window closes. All this and more you can check out now with the top Arsenal news directly from Emirates Stadium. So make sure to like the video and check your subscription so you don't miss any updates. And without further ado, let's get started. The transfer options available to Arsenal and Mikel Arteta are slimming by the day, but they must still act. The window closes on 3rd February, and the Gunners are yet to reinforce their depleted attacking cohort. Benjamin Sesko is a target for Arsenal, although RB Leipzig are understood to be unwilling to negotiate over a potential deal. Meanwhile, Arsenal are also interested in Matheus Cunha, but Wolves aren't open to sanctioning a departure for their talisman. Alexander Isak remains a pipe dream for Arteta, who must now look at last-minute alternatives to his primary targets to ensure his squad isn't left short for the rest of the season. Arsenal should sign Mohamed Kudus. Arsenal are down to their bare bones at the front end of the pitch, with only Kai Havertz, Leandro Trossard, Gabriel Martinelli, and Raheem Sterling available to Arteta. The Gunners cannot afford for these 4 players to be their only options for the rest of the season. However, with the likes of Cunha, Sesko, and Isak all seemingly unavailable, it's looking more and more unlikely that they'll get something done unless the Emirates hierarchy pivot to alternatives. Mohamed Kudus has long been linked with Arsenal, and the Ghanaian should be revisited as a potential addition by the North London club in the final week of this transfer window. While other options require negotiating with the clubs that own the player in question, Arsenal may not have that issue if they opted to pursue the West Ham man. Kudus has an £85 million release clause, which comes into effect in the summer. However, with West Ham resigned to a mid-table finish this season as they attempt to rebuild under Graham Potter, Arsenal could test the Irons' resolve with a bid in the region of his imminent release clause. An offer of this magnitude would surely be too difficult to turn down, particularly with no guarantees that suitors will match it come the summer. Thus, Kudus represents a realistic acquisition for Arsenal this month, while he also certainly has the ability and a set of attributes that make him suited to Arteta's team. Why is Mohamed Kudus a good fit for Arsenal? Arsenal are arguably short out wide and down the middle, so identifying someone who can fill all 3 positions up front would be sensible. Kudus has been deployed on the left and right for West Ham, while he also operated as a striker for Ajax on several occasions. This versatility would be hugely beneficial to Arsenal, although the most appealing aspect of the potential deal is his dribbling ability. Martinelli and Trossard are both struggling to beat their man consistently, which is making Arteta's side predictable in the final third. Kudus specializes in ball carrying and dribbling, completing 4.49 successful take-ons per 90 minutes in the Premier League last season. In comparison, Martinelli is managing 1.58 successful take-ons per match this term. It wouldn't be a cost-effective deal, but Kudus' ability to unsettle low blocks could be game-changing for Arsenal, while a deal is there to be done with West Ham, unlike many other Arteta targets. The final week of the January transfer window is approaching, and Arsenal still has plenty of work to do to strengthen the squad. So far, the Gunners have not confirmed any new signings, although some players have left on permanent transfers or loans. For Mikel Arteta, the need for some reinforcements is clear, especially in the attacking department where injuries are starting to take their toll on Arsenal. A potential deal is on the table in the coming days, involving a young prodigy who is also being targeted by Premier League rivals Manchester City and Manchester United. Arsenal has been linked with the transfer of Sverre Nypen, the highly rated Norwegian prodigy. The Gunners seem keen on securing the young midfielder both for the future and for the current squad situation. However, they are not alone in their interest, as Manchester City and Manchester United are also keeping an eye on the Rosenborg star. Nypen was spotted at the Etihad Stadium during Manchester City's match against Chelsea, having flown to England to watch the game. According to VG, Nypen was invited by his compatriot Erling Haaland, but he apparently isn't about to join him at City. Instead, the report states that Arsenal is well ahead in the race to sign the young prodigy, with plans to close the deal this month. January is the perfect time for Arsenal to secure Nypen's transfer. It's rare for many big deals to be completed in January, but it makes a lot of sense for Arsenal to lock down Nypen now. The 18-year-old will likely be in even higher demand in the summer when rival teams see his PSR deadline approach. The timing also works well for Nypen, as the Norwegian football calendar is currently currently at the end of a season and entering the next. This would mean a clean break from Rosenborg rather than a mid-season move in the summer as would be expected. For Arsenal, this adds the ability to sign a young player who can start playing immediately and contribute significantly for the remainder of the season. Edu could sabotage Arsenal transfer for incredible striker as director makes move. Arsenal is desperate to add a striker to Mikel Arteta's ranks before the transfer window closes, but it seems they're not getting much help from their former sporting director, Edu Gaspar. The situation has become critical with Gabriel Jesus sidelined for the season due to an ACL injury. This leaves Arteta with only Kai Havertz as a senior option for the striker role. Leandro Trossard could step in if necessary, but the Belgian has been frequently deployed as a winger and would also need replacing if moved to the central forward position. Matheus Cunha is one of Arsenal's targets, but Wolves seem unwilling to let their star player go. Arteta may need to look beyond the Premier League and tap into the club's network to secure a last-minute striker. Another complication arises with Nottingham Forest's interest in Igor Jesus, a Brazilian striker who has impressed at Botafogo. Arsenal has already made contact with the player, described as incredible by journalist Zach Lowry. Arteta is an admirer of the forward, and it seems Edu also rates him highly. However, Nottingham Forest has already made an informal inquiry to Botafogo regarding Jesus' situation. Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis has even spoken directly with Botafogo owner John Textor about negotiating a deal. Botafogo is reportedly asking around £30 million for the 23-year-old. It's unclear whether Forest's interest is being driven by Edu, but given that Jesus has been linked with Arsenal in recent months, it's likely that the Brazilian executive has introduced one of his former targets to his new club. Edu left Arsenal in early November to join Marinakis in overseeing the Greek owner's network of clubs. Arsenal shouldn't target Jesus anyway. While Jesus looks a promising talent, Arsenal should look elsewhere for a striker. The Botafogo man was playing in the UAE Pro League until last year and thus doesn't have the requisite experience to justify the Gunners forking out a significant fee for him whilst they're in a title race. Arsenal need a striker who will guarantee goals in the Premier League and is either entering their prime or in it. They cannot afford to add another developmental player to their squad when they're looking to win major honors right now. Premier League proven options such as Matheus Cunha and Alexander Isak, although much more expensive, represent much more sensible acquisitions. What do you think about this situation? Will Arsenal manage to secure the striker they need before the transfer window closes? Time is running out. Former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher has weighed in on the controversial red card issued during Arsenal's clash with Wolves. The debate erupted when Myles Lewis-Skelly was sent off for what seemed to be a routine foul to stop a counter-attack. Referee Michael Oliver's decision appeared to hinge on the timing of the tackle, which was late and the height of the contact. The red card left Arsenal with 10 men, although Wolves were also reduced to 10 players later in the game when Juan Gomez was sent off. Ultimately, Ricardo Calafiori secured 3 points for Arsenal with a late goal. Despite Mikel Arteta wanting to focus on the victory, much of the post-match discussion revolved around the officiating. Arsenal fans were outraged by the decision, and it remains unclear if the club will appeal Lewis-Skelly's suspension. Speaking on Sky Sports' Ref Watch, Dermot Gallagher offered his verdict. "I think it's a case of stopping a promising attack," he said. "Other referees may see it differently, but I think that's what it is." He recognizes Doherty is breaking away and decides to stop him quickly. It's cynical. He trips him, but for me, a cynical foul isn't a red card. I don't think it's the worst decision in the world, as some have suggested. From Michael Oliver's position, he feels, and still feels, it's a stamp on the Achilles tendon. Referees are now instructed that a stud's first challenge on the Achilles requires a red card. Personally, I think it's a yellow for stopping a promising attack. Look at it. Is it brutal, malicious? Is it gaining intensity or speed? I don't think so. When asked why VAR didn't intervene, Gallagher said, "I can't answer that, why there was no intervention," leaving the decision open to further interpretation. While Arsenal waits to see if their appeal to overturn Myles Lewis-Skelly's suspension will be successful, the debate surrounding the red card rages on. Former referee Mike Dean has also weighed in, expressing confidence that the suspension could be overturned. Speaking to Sky Sports News immediately after Arsenal's match, Dean said, "I think they have grounds to appeal. It depends on the panel of former coaches and players who review it, and which way they lean. If they do appeal, the way coaches and players see it, I don't don't think any of the players would feel it was a red card. I believe they could win the appeal. I understand why the red card was given, but it could be overturned upon review. What do you think about the controversy surrounding Myles Lewis-Skelly's red card? Should it be overturned? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Well folks, those were the main news for today. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated on everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and until the next video.